All right, shalom, shalom. I want to give all praise to Yahweh Ba'Hashem Yahushai, Ba'Hashem Rakah Kadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Salutations to the Akim out there spreading this truth like wildfire. Shalom to the Israelite foreigners looking like the other nations, but the Spirit bears witness that they're the children of Yahweh Ba'Hashem Yahushai. But the Spirit bears witness with our children, with our spirit, that they're the children of Yahweh Hashem Yahushai. And shalom to the real sisters out there. All right, I'm gonna do this live because prophecy's popping off. Shit's heating up. Salakia. Shit's heating up out there in the Middle East. Well, out there in the so-called Middle East, where in our homeland, we're in our actual homeland, not just in the so-called Middle East, in general, but our homeland, between them 1948ers and the Ishmaelites. They're mainly Ishmaelites. We do have our people scattered among them as well, but yeah, our people are scattered everywhere. So that's a given. But shit's heating up between Amalek and Ishmael out there, and and this is gonna, this is a fulfillment of several prophecies, that lead to fulfillment of others, because I could see, the way this year been going, I could see this shit going south real quick, I could see that happening real quick, heat up real quick. And the first prophecy that it fulfills is in Matthew 24:6. And ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. See that ye not be troubled. For all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet, Because, verse 7, for nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom, and there shall be famines and pestilences and earthquakes in divers places. Verse 8, all these are the beginning of sorrows. So all these are what? They're the beginning of sorrows, So this is just the beginning. It's not like, it's just the beginning of all this shit, man. It's just the begin. It's just the beginning of basically that time we're coming into. We're coming into a time of Jacob's trouble, which is gonna be summed up by World War III. Which is gonna turn nuclear. Man, fucking roaches. Salakia got interrupted, but it's gonna be summed up by World War III. This World War III is already brewing. We have, because of, hold on, politics. World War III, when all nations are gonna gather together in the valley of Yehoshaphat. Says the valley of Yehoshaphat. That's just anglicized version of Yehoshaphat, and we already started to see that happen with the Syria war. But now, it's going to intensify, because now you have a war between the 1948ers, which are backed up by Babylon and by its so-called allies, And then you have the Palestinians, which are mainly Ishmael, of course. Then they're backed up by Iran. They're backed up by Iran and Syria and probably Iraq now. They're backed up by them. And now Turkey would also back them up. And this is gonna and so you could see it could happen. This war could escalate to where these devils are bombing the fuck out of Hamas in Gaza. Also, you have civil war as well. You have these different Ishmaelites, you know, these different so-called Palestinians that are fighting against the so-called they're fighting against the 1948ers. In the city called Lod, Israel. Basically it's turned into all that war. Between the Ishmaelites mainly and 1948ers. And yeah, and Amalek has been bombing the fuck. I mean, hold on. Amalek has been bombing the fuck out of these out of this. And hold on. And if Hezbollah shit, Hezbollah gets involved. Hezbollah is backed up by the Iranians, and the Syrians are backed up by who? The Russians. So Hezbollah gets involved in shit. They get too much for them. They get too much for either side. If they get too much for Babylon, I mean for the 1948ers, Babylon may get involved. And if it's too much, get too much for Hezbollah and Hamas, they may get back. They may get backed up by hold on. They may get backed up by Iran and Syria, and then turn Russia. So this could turn into that World War III situation real quickly. Hold on, hold on. Go to the Joel the third chapter, man. Joel 3 verse 9. Proclaim ye this among the Gentiles, prepare war, wake up the mighty men. Let all the men of war draw near, let them come up. Verse 10. Beat your plowshare. So that's what you see happening. All these men of war draw near. They're coming up, to where, let me bring it out. Several verses down. Verse 10, beat your plowshares into spears and your pruning hooks beat your plowshares into swords and your pruning hooks into spears. Let the weak say, I am strong. That's what you see as well. With Russia, Iran, now Iran, Russia been strong for a while. But now Iran, now China and Iran, now they're flexing their shit, man. The rest of these countries are being backed up by them, like Syria. Even Hamas, the Gaza, Hamas run Gaza, and they're not giving a fuck. Yeah, Salaki, I have to take care of that. But Hey, if you watch replay of this, you can just skip ahead. But yeah, man. Uh, let the weak say I'm strong. It's happening, man. And the economies of the world are shifting. They shifting to wartime economy, man. Now the U.S. has been at wartime, been you know spending a lot on defense and shit. Especially in the Cold War and even after, hey, when Bush came back in office, man. But the U.S. was always spending a lot on defense, but they ramped it up. I'm pretty sure when Bush came in there, and they did that 9/11 in that 9/11 false flag. They ramped it up. That was an excuse. The so-called war on terror when they are the terrorists. Yeah, so it's been ramped up, and then around the world as well. These different countries, man, they ramping up their military. The economy is being shifted from, just a regular economy, you know, to a wartime type economy. That's what is meant by that. And so production is going more towards weapons of war, man. That's what's meant by that as well. Verse 11. Hold on. Salaki, y'all, man. Dealing with a lot. And I'm dealing with a lot, I'm moving into this new, ever since I've been dealing with a lot for a while, for those of y'all that have been watching my lives. But yeah, verse 11. Assemble yourselves and come, all ye heathen, and gather yourselves together round about. Thither cause thy mighty ones to come down, O Yahweh. The heathen are gathering themselves for that war, man. You know, and so are the mighty men are the Most High Yahweh. The chariot, they're in them chariots, them angels, man. Head up, under Yahweh Shai, and that archangel Michaela, man. Know him as Archangel Michael, but it's really Michaela. Verse 12, because he's going to have to defend, it's going to be so bad, he's going to have to defend us from these devils, man. This talks about that in Daniel 12, man. Daniel 12 and 1. At that time shall Michael, Michael in the Hebrew again, stand up, a great prince, which standeth for the children of thy people, and there shall be a time of trouble, such as never was, since there was a nation, even to that same time. And at that time thy people shall be delivered, every one that is found written in the book, meaning the elect. So he's coming to deliver the elect. Verse 10, verse 11, actually verse 12, it's where they gonna be gathered. Let the heathen be awakened and come up to the valley of it says Jehoshaphat. We know in the ancient Hebrew is really Yehoshaphat, meaning Yahweh's judgment. For there will I sit to judge all the heathen round about. How is he gonna judge them? They gonna fight each other. Verse 13, put in the sickle, for the harvest is ripe. Come, get you down, for the press is full. The vats overflow, for the wickedness is great. Yeah, all this shit they done to our people, man. All the wickedness that these devils and these heathens have done towards our people. That all that wickedness, it's great, man. It's reached up to heaven, man. especially of Babylon. Babylon's wickedness is way up there. But it's Most High Yahweh and the Son Yahweh Shai have had enough of it. Verse 14, multitudes, multitudes in the valley of decision. For the day of Yahweh, Bahashem Yahweh Shai, is near in the valley of decision. You know, it's near. If it was near back then, it's definitely near now. Verse is definitely much closer now. Verse 15, the sun and the moon shall be darkened, and the stars shall withdraw their shining. Yeah, why? Because that's the effects the nuclear blasts are gonna have. You know, they're gonna darken the sun and the moon. You know, gonna have them the mushroom clouds and shit. You know, it caused some. You know, they say it caused some kind of nuclear winter. You know, it's basically gonna darken the sky. You know, it's gonna dim that shit, man. And stars trying to draw their shining. You know. Yeah, you know. Verse 16, Yahweh shall roar out of Zion and utter his voice from Jerusalem, and the heavens and the earth shall shake. But Yahweh will be the hope of his people and the strength of the children of Israel, man. You know, because you know Zion and Jerusalem, that's people for us to place. So he's gonna defend his people from these devils, man. And also, you know how he's gonna destroy these heathens. Part of the way is through that World War III, through causing them to fight each other. And then you know, it's like what they did to us, you know. Well, you know, basically, you know, when it was our time to go down, our people was fighting each other, man, at each other's throats, and the Esau came in the picture and took advantage of it. Slacky, yo. Slacky. So, you know, it's gonna happen to them. You know, they're gonna get. That's gonna be a part of that recompense coming upon their own heads. You know, verse 17. So yeah, you know, actually, let me go straight to. Well, let me bring out verse. Well, let me go straight to Revelation and 16. Revelation 16 and Revelation 16 and let me get it. Verse 12. And the sixth angel poured out his vial upon the great river Euphrates, and the water thereof was dried up, that the ways of the kings of the east might be prepared. Verse Verse 13, and I saw three unclean spirits, like frogs, come out of the mouth of the dragon, and out of the mouth of the beast, and out of the mouth of the false prophets. Verse 14, for they are the spirits of devils, working miracles, which go forth unto the kings of the earth and of the whole world, to gather them to the battle of the great day, you know, of power almighty, you know, that they spoken of in Joel chapter 3. So they gonna basically, you know, they're gonna use the media, you know, also the false prophet is gonna use basically his influence, you know, over his followers, his clout basically to and they're gonna basically, you know, they're gonna, you know, do what they can, you know. They are doing what they can, you know, basically to gather, you know, the kings of the earth and of the whole world, to gather them to the battle of that great day of power almighty. Like verse 15, behold, I came as a thief, blessed is he that watcheth and keepeth his garments, lest he walk naked and they should see his shame. Verse 16, because of World War III, man, it's building up. And it's gonna catch people out of nowhere. Out of nowhere. Verse 16, and he gathered them together into a place called in the Hebrew tongue Armageddon, Armageddon, which means Mount of the Troops. Verse 17, because all these troops is gathered into one area, man. And also all these alliances gathered together, man. Also it goes into that. Which means that verse 17, and the seventh angel poured out his vial upon the air into the air, and there came a voice out of the temple of heaven from the throne saying, it is done. Keep reading, we'll see by verse 18, and there were voices and thunders and lightnings, and there was great earthquake as such as was not since men were upon the earth. So mighty earthquake is so great. Verse 19, and the great city was divided. And why? Why? Because when the nukes hit around the world, especially here in Babylon, USA, man, especially here, it's gonna create a, it's gonna make a big impact. It's gonna shake the earth. It's gonna hit also these tectonic faults as well. So it's gonna fuck with them and cause earthquakes all over the world, which is gonna cause that the shake, the earth to shake to and fro like a drunkard. Let me get that. The earth shall, Salaki, I'm dealing with afflictions. The earth shall shake to and fro like a drunkard. Let me get that. Earth shall shake to and fro like a drunkard. Fro like a drunkard. There you go. And that's in Isaiah 24 and 20. Let me get it. Isaiah 24 and 20. Ah, shit, my God. I hate it, bro. Isaiah 24 and 20. Shit, dude. Alright, hold on. And 20. The earth shall reel to and fro like a drunkard, and shall be removed like a cottage, and the transgression thereof shall be heavy upon it, and it shall fall and not rise again. Verse 21. And it shall come to pass in that day, I'm gonna keep reading because you know it's like a precept to what I've been bringing out. Verse 21, and it shall come to pass in that day that Yahweh by Shemiah Shai shall punish the host of the high ones that are on earth, and the kings of the earth upon the earth. Verse 22, and they shall be gathered together as the prisoners are gathered in the pit. They shall be shut up in the. Oh, yeah, that goes into these damn devils and these heathens. But these damn devils they gonna get the worst. As prisoners are gathered in the pit, they shall be shut up in the prison. And yeah, that goes in there after the World War III. After many days shall be visited. Yep, they're gonna be put in a fucking dungeon. Verse 23, and then the moon shall be confounded and the sun ashamed, when Yahweh of hosts shall reign in Mount Zion and in Jerusalem before his ancient glory. This is going to happen from the World War III. But yeah, let me continue to bring it out. The earth is going to shake to and fro like a drunkard. Verse 19, it's symbolic as well because of, basically these the heathen nations, and then Esau that have been in control of our people. They're gonna be shaken. You know, verse 19. So the hierarchy is gonna be shaken. It's gonna be replaced with the new hierarchy. These devils are gonna be at the very bottom, and these heathens are gonna be at the bottom under us. Verse 19. And the great city was divided. With the Rothschilds, and the elites, of course, being at the very bottom. Verse 19. And the great city was divided into three parts, and the cities of the nations fell, and great Babylon came in remembrance before power Yahweh to give unto her the cup of the wine of the fierceness of his wrath. Verse 20. And every island fled away, and the mountains were not found. Verse 21. And there fell upon man. So yeah, because of the earthquake, man, it's gonna fucking change the earth geographically, man. That type of earthquake. And that's gonna be, it's gonna be like a worldwide earthquake because it's gonna happen along all the faults, man. That's gonna be big. It's gonna be like basically, yeah, it's gonna be a great earthquake. It's gonna be real intense. Verse 21. And there fell upon men a great hail out of heaven. This is the description. The scripture, this is the way that John is describing, that John the Revelator is describing, these missiles, man. And there fell upon men a great hail out of heaven, every stone about the weight of a talent. Hailstones, the average hailstones do not weigh about a talent, man. A talent is actually heavy. And man blasphemed power Yahweh because of the plague of the hail. For the plague thereof was exceedingly great. Because you know why? Because those that survive the nukes, man, that are gonna be in these European countries, because Babylon is gonna be completely obliterated. So in these European countries, you're gonna have hail. I'm Salaka. You're gonna have different places destroyed by the missiles, but the whole continent of Europe is not gonna be destroyed and obliterated like America is. It's not gonna be turned into a desert like that, but it's gonna be different areas that are destroyed. So in the areas that are not affected as much, or people are able to survive, you're gonna have that. So people are gonna, they're gonna blaspheme. They are, man. They're gonna blaspheme the name of. They're gonna blaspheme Yahweh Shemiah Shai for that, man. Then yeah, and them, yeah, they're because they're gonna be alive, and basically in a situation where most of the major cities are basically destroyed. They're like out there, basically cut off from civilization, cut off from a bunch of shit. Yeah, but that World War III is coming, man. That World War III is coming, and remember, that's gonna lead to what's going on right now is gonna lead to it's not Ezekiel 38 is not happening right now, so the end is not yet, but it's gonna lead to it. Ezekiel 38, that coalition, man. Because Hamas and them is linked up to Iran and shit. So that's how it can come about from that. So many ways that World War III can come about, but the 1948ers being in the land is it's gonna bring that about, man. For sure, it's gonna be a factor. Ezekiel 38, and the word of Yahweh Shemiah Shai came unto me, saying, verse 2, Son of man, set thy face against Gog, the land of Magog, talking about Russia, the chief prince of Meshach and Tubal, look into him. Meshach, basically goes into Moscow and shit, proving this to Russians, and prophesy against him, verse 3, and say, thus say, Yahweh power, say the power of Yahweh, behold, I am against thee, O God, the chief prince of Meshach and Tubal. Verse 4, now turn thee back and put hooks into thy jaws, turn them back what? To that Soviet style mindset, man. When they was just coming at Babylon. And I'll bring thee forth, and all thine army, horses and horsemen, all of them clothed with all sorts of armor, even a great company, with bucklers and shields, all them handling the swords, all of them handling the sword, them weapons of war, Modern day sword, that's the gun, the missile, etc. Right? Get what I'm saying? Russia gonna, this will lead to Russia getting involved in the Middle East. This could lead to, it could be a path to it. There's many ways it could come about, and this is one way it could come about. Slaki, y'all. Verse 4, and I will turn thee back. Okay, Slaki. Verse 5, Persia, so what I'm getting at. Persia, the Iranians, Ethiopia, who they are, and Libya, with them, all of them with shield and helmet, or foot, all of them with shield and helmet, of course, this is those are analogies for these modern day weapons that they have, man. Verse 6, Gomer, defense system, shield, and helmet. Verse 6, Gomer and all of his bands, the house of Togarmah of the north quarters, and all his bands, and many people with thee. Verse 7, so Gomer, that's Turkey, house of Togarmah. Believe that goes into that as well, house of Togarmah. I believe it's related to Turkey. Verse 7, be thou prepared and prepare, or maybe part of the former Soviet, basically the countries that was part of the Soviet Union, man. I think it may be related to them. Verse 7 may be referring to them, what I'm saying? Verse 7, be thou prepared and prepare for thyself, thou and all thy company that are assembled unto thee, and be thou a guard unto them. That's what you see Russia doing, man. Defending all these countries, man. Like what happened with Syria, man. Because Syria's, part of that many people with thee, man. As well as China, The Russia was a guard unto Syria. Verses 8, after many days, and Russia being a guard unto Iran. It's like, after many days thou shalt be visited, in the latter years thou shalt come back into the land that is brought back from the sword, and is gathered out of many people against the mountains of Israel, which had always been laid always waste was brought forth out of nations, and they shall dwell safely, all of them. Which, that's speaking of, basically the mountains of Israel can also be speaking of what? Can be speaking of the people of Israel, their leaders, and they're in Babylon, and they think it's all good for them. I think they're in good case, which is why the Russian orchestra actually made a song, a few years back, if you remember. Those of y'all that have been keeping up, those of y'all that haven't, basically that song mentioned, uh, niggas are sleeping, but then say niggas, it said, ER, where, just, yeah, said niggas are sleeping. So, why would they say that? Why would they single out these so-called black people? Because they know the prophecies, you know, no Jacob thinking they're safe in Babylon and shit, because our people have been sustained, right, in this land, especially, towards the nowadays, people kind of being sustained, even though we're still being oppressed. Verse 9, not, but we're being kind of sustained as well. And that, yeah, we're being kind of sustained as well. Verse 9, thou shalt ascend and come like a sword. Thou shalt be like a cloud to cover the land, thou and all thy bands, and many people with thee. Also, literally on land, man. Yeah, because the mountains of Israel, how can mountains be brought forth out of the nations and dwell safely? It's referring to the people, the Israelites. Also the land of Israel as well, because they're gonna be cleansed out of the land. Those 1948ers, but Babylon, and also I'm gonna bring out scriptures on how Babylon is gonna get involved in this, which that's referring to America. Verse 9, thou shalt sin and come like a storm, thou shalt be like a cloud to cover the land, be it thou and all thy bands, and many people with thee. Verse 10, thus saith Yahweh power, it shall also come to pass, and all that, and at the same time shall things come into thy mind, and thou shalt think an evil thought. Verse 11, and thou shalt say, I will go to the land of the walled villages, I will go to them that are rest, that dwell safely, all them dwelling without walls, and have neither walls nor gates. Verse 12, to take a spoil and to take a prey, to turn thine hand upon the desolate places that are now inhabited, and upon the people that are gathered out of the nations, which have gotten cattle and goods to dwell in the midst of the land. Yeah, man. On this place, man. Verse 13, Sheba and Dedan, emergence of Tarshish, all the young lions there. That goes into say Zia, I come to take a spoil. As I got that company to take a prey, to take the silver and gold, to take the cows and goods, take great spoil. Symbolic of the resources this place had. They're gonna come at this place in just different ways, eventually just milking it. Verse 14, therefore, son of man, prophesy and say unto Gog, this saith the Lord Yahweh power, in the day when my people will Israel safely. Yeah, man. Shall thou not know it? Yeah, when they think they in good case in this land, America, they think they in good case. Verse 15, and thou shalt come from thy place out of the north parts, thou and many people with thee, all them riding upon horses, a great company and a mighty army. They're gonna really, they're gonna, they know that Jake is here asleep and shit. That's why they made that song again. Verse 16, and thou shalt come up against my people of Israel as a cloud to cover land. It shall be in the latter days, and I'll bring thee against my land, that the heathen may know what I shall be sanctified in thee, O God, before their eyes. Yeah, basically, well, and when this World War III, these elites actually came up with it. This World War III. Actually, well, they didn't come up with it, but it's also in their plans. The World War III. There's another one in Jeremiah. Jeremiah. Let me see if there's anything else bringing that up in the scripture, but pretty sure there ain't nothing else. Let me go into Jeremiah. Jeremiah. Talking about the least of the flock. Jeremiah 49 and 20. Therefore, hear the counsel of Yahweh that he had taken against Edom, and in his purposes that he had proposed against the inhabitants of Teman. Surely the least of the flock shall draw them out. Surely he shall make their habitations desolate with them. Verse 21. The earth is moved at the noise of their fall. At the cry, the noise thereof was heard in the Red Sea. Hey, he's gonna draw out, the inhabitants of Timon, those that were the inhabitants of Timon back then, the Edomites. These the so-called European Edomites, also Babylon. Jeremiah 51 and Jeremiah 50 actually. Jeremiah 50 and let me get it. Jeremiah 50 and 44, 45. Therefore, you hear it's almost, like a carbon copy. It's almost, the same, Amen. It's almost the same thing being said here, as in the scriptures, as in that chapter about Edom. Jeremiah 50 and 45. Therefore, hear the counsel of Yahweh Shem Shai, that he had taken against Babylon, and his purposes that he had proposed against the land of the Chaldeans. Surely the least of the flock shall draw them out. Surely he shall make their habitation desolate with them. Verse 46. At the noise of the taking of Babylon, the earth is moved. Remember, he's talking about the great earthquake, and the cry is heard among the nations. And the precept to that, the least the flock, talking about the 1948ers. And precept to that, the cry is heard among the nations. Revelation 18, 9, and the kings of the earth who have committed fornication. Verse 8, therefore shall her plagues come in one day, death and mourning and famine, and she shall be utterly burned with fire. The strong is Yahweh, is power Yahweh who judgeth her. Verse 9, and the kings of the earth who have committed fornication and lived deliciously with her, shall bewail her, and lament for her, when they shall see the smoke of her burning. Verse 10, standing afar off for the fear of her torment, saying, Alas, alas, that great city Babylon, that mighty city, for in 1 hour is thy judgment come. Verse 1 hour, 1 hour. Verse 11, and the merchants of the earth shall weep and mourn over her, and no man buying the merchants any more. Verse 12, the merchants of gold, merchandise of gold and silver and precious stones and of pearls and fine linen and purple and silk and scarlet and all dyeing wood, or say of sweet wood and scarlet, also on fine linen, purple, silk and scarlet, all dyeing wood, and all manner vessels of ivory, and all manner vessels of most precious wood, and of brass, and iron, and marble. Verse 13, and cinnamon, and odors, and ointments, and frankincense, and wine, and oil, and fine flour, and wheat, and beasts, and sheep, and horses, and chariots, and slaves, or bodies, and souls of men. Verse 14, and all the shit that Babylon sell, man, all the merchandise of Babylon. Verse 4, it say all this, slaves and souls of men included. Verse 14, and the fruits, to this day, you had the elder go, the apostle Gabar, apostle Gabar going to how the birth certificate is basically, a slavery document. It's a documentation of your slavery, man, of your contractual slavery. So yeah, man, in the RFID chip gonna replace it and mark of the beast. Verse 14, and the fruits that thy soul lusted after are departed from thee, and all things which were dainty and goodly are departed from thee, and thou shalt find them no more at all. Verse 15, the merchants of these things, all these things, which are made rich by her, shall stand afar off, because even them rat childs don't live over here, man. Shall stand afar off for the fear of her torment, wailing, weeping and wailing. Verse 17, and saying, Alas, alas, that great city that was clothed in fine linen, and purple and scarlet, and decked with gold and precious stones and pearls. Verse 17, for 1 hour is come to naught, and every ship master, and all the company and ships and sailors, and as many as trade by sea, stood far off. Verse 18, and cried when they saw the smoke of her burning, saying, What city is like unto this great city? Because they made so much money off of her, she was their cash cow. Verse 19, and they cast dust on their heads and cried, weeping and wailing, saying, Alas, alas, that great city, wherein were made rich all that had ships in the sea, by reason of the costliness. For in 1 hour she is made desolate. Verse 20, rejoice over her, thou heaven, and thou ye holy apostles and prophets, for power hath avenged you on her. Verse 21, and the mighty angel took up a stone like a great millstone, and cast it into the sea, and saying, Thus with great violence shall that great city Babylon be thrown down, and shall be found no more at all. So that basically goes into basically this place is gonna, hey, the cry is gonna be heard of. Basically, let me get it. Let me get it again. The cry is gonna be heard, The cry is gonna be heard among the nations. That's like Jeremiah 50 and 46. Man, at the noise of the taking of Babylon, earth is moved, and the cry is heard among the nations. So that's showing you that it is gonna be heard among the nations. all these nations, all these merchants that was making big bank off of her. This, and they're gonna feel the effects of it. As well as they're gonna hear it. They're gonna see it. They're gonna see it from Europe, from Asia. From where they post it at, man. Where they post it up at. They're gonna see the nukes. That's a fire that you're gonna be able to see from there. And yeah, man, this is gonna come about. Hey, Babylon's gonna be drawn into this war, man. 'Cause this is a way it could happen. And let me get second Ezra's where it goes into the Carmanians. Second Ezra's 15, I believe it's in there. Talking about it, the terrible vision of from the east. Second Ezra's 15 and 28. Behold, an horrible vision, and the appearance thereof from the east. Verse 29. When the nations of the dragons of Arabia shall come out with many chariots, and the multitude of them shall be carried as the wind upon earth, and all they which hear them may fear and tremble. Yep. In verse 30, also the Carmanians, raging in wrath, shall go forth as the wild boars of the wood, and with great power shall they come and join battle with them, and shall waste a portion of the land of the Assyrians. Verse 31. The Assyrians is symbolically speaking of what? These modern day Assyrians, modern day America, also compared to the city of Nineveh, man. The city full of robbery. Where the prey departed not. It's also spiritually Assyria, oppressing the northern kingdom as well as the southern kingdom. Verses 31. And then shall the dragons have the upper hand, remembering their nature, and if they shall turn themselves, conspiring together in great power to persecute them. Yup. The Carmanians and the Ishmaelites, man. And what do you think is gonna happen from them 1948ers doing what they do, to the Ishmaelites, and then Babylon taking the side of the 1948ers, man. Hey, it's gonna be some shit, man. The dragons of Arabia, remembering their nature. Hey, the Carmanians, raging in wrath. Hey, yeah, man. The nations of the dragons of Arabia, coming out with many chariots, the multitude of them carried as the wind upon the earth. All they would hear them go fear and tremble. Yep, the Carmanians too. They call them terrorists now. The Carmanians too, raging in wrath, Shall go forth as the wild boars in the wood, And with great power shall they come and join battle with them, and shall waste a portion of the land of the Syrians. Con. The Carmanians, the so-called Iranians, just another name for them. Yeah, man. And it showed them. Yeah, man. So that's how, you know, that's, hey, this shit could get real heated, and these scriptures that I just read could be fulfilled, man, from this, man. It could be some other way, but you see how 2021 been going, man. These prophecies been popping off. This one, this could be the way, the actual way that this World War III gets pop dropping and locking, man. How this World War III gets started, man. This could be the way, how it actually gets heated, goes from a Cold War to a hot war. Shalom Akia, Yaakov Diego Garcia, Shalom Yabashimia Sabrakta. A World War III is getting a World War III that has been a Cold War or proxy war is turning into a hot war. And that the fake Jews, of course, 1948ers versus the Ishmaelites over there, and so-called Palestinians. They're turning on each other. Hey, they're going at each other's throats, man. In the city of Lod, Israel, there's a whole they're going at each other's throats. Ishmaelites and 1948ers. Khan, Kala Yahweh Shem Shai for that. Kala Yahweh Shem Shai. It's about time. Kinda is, man. Kinda is, man. This World War III is popping off. Or you had that World War III, you had that pipeline. That shit happened with that pipeline here in Babylon. And now it's all right, but that's just piece of safety talk, man. Matter of fact, let me get a precept on that. That's all it is, Esau will do some shit, then so it really was a test run, but it had its impact as well on the economy. That's Thessalonians, because now people are gonna be like, oh, so it's gonna be all right now. Nah, Thessalonians. I think it's Second Thessalonians. First, actually, First Thessalonians chapter 4, verse 2. For yourselves know perfectly that the day of Yahweh Shem Shai so cometh as a thief in the night. Verse 3. For when they shall say peace and safety, the sudden destruction cometh upon them as travail upon a woman with child, and they shall not escape. Why? Because they're not looking for that day to come, man. They're looking for it to be all right. Somehow it's gonna be all right. Somehow it's gonna be resolved. That's their mindset. Looking at Esau to fix it. So they could get back to their bullshit days of Noah style. Matthew 24 and 38, 37. But as the days of Noah were, so shall the coming of the Son of Man be. Verse 38. For as in the days that were before the flood, they were eating and drinking, marrying and giving in marriage until the day that Noah entered into the ark. Verse 39. And do not until the flood came and took them all away. So shall the coming of the Son of Man be. They knew not. Why? Because they did not pay attention to the signs. They could not discern the signs of the times. They never paid attention to them. I'm going to read on. Verse 40. Then shall two be in the field, and the one shall be taken and the other left. Why? Because one is going to be paying attention, the other is not. Verse 41. Two women shall be grinding in the mill, the one shall be taken and the other left. Verse 42, watch therefore, for ye know not which hour your Lord doth come, man. But they ain't watching for that, man. What they ain't watching for that. No, man, they too focused on the bullshit. They too focused on living their best life here in Babylon. Verse 43, but know this, that if the good man of the house had known and was well watched the thief would come, he would have watched and would not have suffered his house to be broken up. Verse 44, therefore be ye also ready, for in such an hour as ye think not the Son of Man cometh. You know, when they don't think it's going to happen. They're always like that, man. It's always like that. You know, some tragedy happened, they didn't see it coming. And they're like, oh shit, we got to get right. You know, then the shit calmed down and they're like, oh, okay, we good. We was tripping. We good. And they go back to their bullshit. And some other shit happened, you know, some worse shit. Verse 45, who then is a faithful and wise servant when his Lord had made him ruler over his household to give him meat in due season. Verse 46, blessed. Okay, yeah, that goes into something else. Well, it goes into, you know, staying on point, you know, because you're watching. And basically, okay, let me see. When shall find him doing, verse 47, verily unto you, I say unto you that he shall make him ruler over all his goods, meaning he's going to inherit the kingdom. The elect, you know, they're going to stay woke, basically, you know, the real meaning of it. Verse 48, but if the evil servant shall say in his heart, my Lord delayeth his coming. Verse 49, and shall begin to smite his fellow servants and to eat and drink with the drunken, and basically go back into the world and shit. Verse 50, the Lord of that servant shall come in the day when he looketh not for him, and in the hour that he is not aware of. Verse 51, and shall cut him asunder, and appoint him his portion with the hypocrites. There shall be weeping and gnashing of teeth, you know, because they're going to be in Jacob's trouble, because they wasn't watching. They wasn't ready. It wasn't on point. He was off point completely. So that's our people, man. That's 2/3 of our people. They're completely off point because they don't care about being on point, which is why they're gonna be cut off. Zechariah 13:8, and it shall come to pass, and that all the land save Yahweh Hashem Yahushai, 2 parts therein shall be cut off and die, but the third shall be left therein. You know, hey man, that's how it's gonna happen. That's how it's gonna happen. But yeah, man, yeah, people think it's over because it was so-called resolved, you know. Even though the devil said themselves it's gonna be a little while longer, and while you know that it's a little while longer into Memorial Day, some other shit could happen. You know, remember when the Suez Canal crisis happened, and you know everybody was like, "Oh shit," and then it calmed down. Everybody was like, "Shoot, we good now, man." Well, you know, then this happened. So it's like, that's how it's gonna catch our people, man. That's how the 2/3 are gonna be caught off guard, you know, because they're not paying attention. They want this place to continue. They're in that spirit. They want this place to continue, which is why they're in that mindset. There you go. Which is why, you know, they're like that. They're like, yeah, finally I can get back to my bullshit. That's why they're gonna be cut off. That's why Amos 9 and 10. Let me get it. That's why Amos 9 and 10, the verse before Amos 9 and 11. Amos 9 and 10, all the sinners of my people shall die by the sword, which shall say the evil, which say the evil shall not overtake nor prevent us. They're constantly thinking that shit. They're all constantly thinking that Babylon's gonna get healed when Jeremiah, we would have healed Babylon. I'm trying to find that. Jeremiah 51 and 9, we would have healed Babylon. When we start at verse 8, Babylon is suddenly fallen and destroyed. How for her? Take balm for her pain, and so she may be healed. And of course, the Most High Yahweh is taunting this place. As well as you 2/3, y'all that are joining to these devils in this place. Verse 9, we would have healed Babylon, but she is not healed. Forsake her, let us go, every one into his own country. For her judgment reacheth unto heaven, and is lifted up even unto the sky. These people thinking Babylon is healed, because that pipeline situation is fixed. Nah, man. Don't get it mixed up. This place is through, man. There's some other shit that's coming down the pipe that's gonna happen. These devils actually had this shit planned out, man. These devils actually had this shit planned out. I think they showed it in the movie. You get it. Transmorphers. Edith Craig. Hackers, man. I believe there was... I'm not trying to go to the actual Twitter, man. I'm trying to just look at it on mobile Twitter because, for obvious reasons. Yeah, this tweet by this dude, October Rain. Check this out on IMDb, June 2007. I'm gonna look it up on IMDb, by the way. Dark Side in a 2007 video, Colonial in the frame. 14 years later, a hacker group named Edith Cried, which is Dark Side backwards. In the 2007 video, Colonial in the frame. 14 years later, a hacker group named Darkside attacks a gas company named Colonial, the greatest show on earth, which is all symbolic, which is all, which I wouldn't doubt it. The elder from South Carolina kind of went into this. Let me just look up Transmorphers IMDb. Just, to verify, right? Just to verify, look at it on IMDb, because maybe in the maybe in the trailer, man. Transmorphers. He just cried. Maybe see the little trailer. Nah, bro. That's the wrong one. I ain't trying to see that. I'm just gonna look up Edith Cried. Maybe that'll give me some. If I find anything, if not, Slovakia. Because, can't really verify it. You always have to look into this shit because it's Esau's MO, It's just MO to put it in the movies and shit. So, always, I'm looking it up and seeing, find anything. But if not, I just have to say that, even if Esau may have deleted it or whatever, going down a memory hole, can't really verify, you know what I'm saying? So sick shit on it. I'll look that up. Some weirdo shit on here. Esau. Yeah, I can't find nothing on it, man. The elder from South Carolina tried to find some on it too. He couldn't find none. But, probably Esau was behind it, Or maybe he ain't gonna make it that obvious or some shit. Oh, yeah, Esau. I mean, the whole thing was corny anyways. Some shit that Esau would do. So, he's probably behind it. But he ain't gonna make it that easy to find out, I guess. Probably not. Probably not. This devil been slipping, so I had to look that up. But yeah, we all know it goes, links up this devil's agenda because this devil had a whole agenda called cyber pandemic. So we already know this maybe another major cyber attack. You know what I'm saying? But it's the same people. You know what I'm saying? So hey, just because they resolved it don't mean that you let your guard down and be like, oh, it's gonna be peace and safety. No, and this could contribute to the gas prices rising even more because of the supply line being backed up like that. And demand increased. All right, so with that, I want to give all praise. Hold on. So with that, I want to give all praise to Yahweh Shemi Shai, double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who rule well. Salutations to the Akim who spread this truth like wildfire. Shalom, shalom to the Israelite foreigners who look like the other nations, but their spirit bears witness that they're the children of Yahweh Shemi Shai. And shalom to the real sisters that was who's actually the spirit bears witness with our spirit that they're children of Yahweh Shemi Shai. And shalom to the real sisters out there. Hope this live was edifying. Stay strong to the end. You know, we're almost out of here. You know, it's almost finished. You know, you devils are going down. Ain't nothing you can do to reset reset your rulership in our captivity. You know, it's gonna fail. You know, you're shit. It's gonna fail. You know, it's gonna fail. You know, your new world order gonna go to shit. It's kingdom gonna go to. It's going to shit. You know, you devils are going down. You're going into slavery, and our people got next. You know, no matter what, you heathens don't got next. You Moabites think you got next. So-called Chinese, you ain't got next. That's just the pride of Moab. You ain't got next. All right, so Shalom, stay strong, endure to the end, and Esau through Yasharala forever.